Spiritual maturity isn't measured by how high you jump in praise, but how straight you walk in obedience. How straight you walk in faithfulness. It's not measured by how high you jump in the altar. It's measured by how straight you walk in obedience. You got to be patient. God's testing you and trying you. He's trying to perfect you. He's trying to make you better. But you don't understand what I'm going through. You don't understand the mess I found myself in. This is so challenging. Pastor Josh, it's just, you don't understand. I mean, if you knew what I was going through, you get it. No. 1 Corinthians 10:13 says this, for there's no temptation taken you such as not common to man. But God, who is faithful, will not allow you to be tempted above that you're able, but He will, with the temptation, provide a way of escape, an exit sign, so that you may be able to bear it. You got to be patient. You can't give up on God. You can't give up on Jesus. You can't give up on His Word. You can't give up on prayer. You got to be patient through whatever's going on in your life. And when we remain patient, we'll see an exit sign and we'll be able to get on out. And it'll all work out. When we rush, we make big mistakes. When you rush, you could go to the wrong college. You need to be patient if you don't hear from God about where you're supposed to go and spend the next 4 years of your life. When we talk to Him and we become best friends with Him, we understand some of the details of our life, the decisions that we make and the places that we go. We get Him involved in those decisions. And when we get Him involved in those decisions in our life, things work out so much better for you. You ever wonder why some people things work out so much better? Other people, they just struggle and are stressed out all the time? You gotta be patient. If you're stressed out all the time and you're making decisions all the time and getting people mad and you're upset all the time, maybe you need to be patient. Maybe you need to slow down. Maybe you need to take a deep breath and allow God to speak to you with a still small voice. Maybe don't hit decline, hit accept. All right? Everybody say, got a call coming? Look, Jesus is, you know what? Unlike then, I am glad that Jesus will keep coming after me. Are you glad He keeps calling you? Are you glad when you act like you do, He still comes after you? He still does. He still tries to call. Still tries to call. Here He calls again, and this makes 8 times we have sent Him to voicemail. But He's still calling. Okay, this is call number 9. But yet, once again, decline. Decline. That's right, Ian. We decline Him. He's trying to call and get through to our hearts. So easy to get angry when people don't agree with how we want them to agree. But they are not to be an object of anger for us. We're supposed to love them into the kingdom. Show them the grace of God. Show them the love of God and the compassion that we have when somebody's less fortunate than us and going through something in their life. Why don't we want to share? What is it about our nature we don't want to share? We grow into this child of God that doesn't want to share our faith. And see, when God sends us that phone call and He wants us to answer it in our heart, it's when we see somebody and God is trying to send us a message that says, share your faith with Him. And we're like, I'm not going to take this call. We don't share our faith with that individual. It's that moment. It's that Jesus moment for that person. It's when that person is at a place where they need to hear what you have to say. But if you're not willing to share your faith, and you're not willing to take His call when He's trying to speak to your heart and say, right now speak to Iris. She needs you to share the love of God to her. And you don't listen, she stays stuck in that place. Some individual may stay lost. You got to be ready to take that call. Everybody say, you got a call coming? Look, man, Jesus be trying to get a hold of some of y'all. Time to answer the phone. Look, why you keep doing it? Watch it. Boop. Decline. We don't want to take His call. We're worried that He's going to call us out in our life and tell us we're doing something wrong. Look, all of sin that falls short of the glory of God. God don't need to call you to tell you you're doing something wrong. You already know you're doing something wrong. Amen? Amen. I don't need Him to call me and tell me I'm doing something wrong. I know I'm doing something wrong. God's trying to call me and get a hold of me to help me in my walk with Him. He's trying to get a hold of you and help you in your walk. He's not calling you to condemn you.
That's right. Yep.
That's not why he's calling. He's trying to get through to you because he's got something. He wants to send you an important message. You ever send somebody that message, you're like, why won't Ben answer me? I texted him 18 hours ago. Did I say Ben? Did I say Ben? I am glad he was my black Jesus last week. But listen, if you really, really need help in your life, you might not should text Ben because he might not get back to you for a day or two. Okay? You better go straight to the Jesus, okay? He'll answer you right in, okay? Ben may leave you hanging out there for a little while. When you hit decline, our next one says, we're like the best youth group in Virginia. Right?
Yeah.
It's got some of the best youth in Virginia, right?
Yes, sir.
How about you in case you're not paying attention? Our slide says this. That love thy neighbor thing, I meant that. That's what God wants us to hear. You need to love your neighbor. You need to quit talking about your friends. You need to quit lying about your friends. You know what's lying about your friend? When you share a half-truth. That's a lie.
Yeah.
When you take a piece of information and you twist it. When you take a piece of information and you try with malice intent to get somebody mad at somebody. You try to hurt somebody's feelings. You try to get somebody stirred up. That's talking about somebody. And you know his name is sharing in love. I just want to tell you this because I'm concerned. I'm going to share with love. No, you got something. Don't do it. Look at them and say, don't do it. He's got an important message for this moment in our life that he's trying to get through to us. We ask him to speak to us. We pray in the altar. We talk to God, I want you to just speak to me, God. I want you to speak to me like you did Moses. You would use the bathroom on yourself if he spoke to you in a burning bush. We hit decline when he called us in our heart. You saw him in a flaming bush, you'd be like, oh, you wouldn't know what to do. We need to listen. We need to listen. But we decline it again, and we get the message that pops up that says, love yourself. Everybody say, love yourself. Love yourself. Right here is the root of a lot of your problems, is you don't love yourself. A lot of what you do and how you act that's negative stems from not loving yourself. God says, as much as I love you, how can you not love yourself? You see, when we don't take his call and he's trying to speak to us, we find ourselves in a place, in a moment where we're hurting, where we don't feel love, where we don't love ourselves, and he's trying to get through to us. He wants us to see the message that says, love yourself. We don't want to open it. If we would just open it, when we get ourselves in that place, we can allow him to speak to us. And he said, you were created by me for one reason only, to be loved. And to love in return. I am a God of love. That's what his message says. His message says, love me. Love your neighbors. But also love yourself. You can't love your neighbor if you don't love yourself first. It makes my heart ache when I see you so angry with yourself when things go wrong. That's what God's message says. You are very precious to me. Don't ever forget that. With all my heart, I love you. If we won't take his call to our heart, we can't hear his message that says, with all my heart, I love you. The last slide says this, when you learn to love yourself, you become less concerned about the approval of others. Amen. When you don't love yourself, you're concerned what they think about you. You're concerned if they're going to like your outfit. You're concerned if they're going to like your hair. Are they going to like your car? Are they going to like your shoes? Are they going to like your Yankees hat? Hey, he's good. He's not concerned. So that's good. He's not concerned. If he wears a Yankees hat, there's 50% of people love the Yankees and 50% of people hate the Yankees. And he knows that. But he knows who he is. So he can wear that Yankees hat and be fine with it. And I respect that. You gotta love yourself. You gotta not care what others think. When you get in a place in your life where you're concerned with what others think, you will not be happy. You will not find happiness. God's message to you is, I love you so much that I sent my son to die on the cross for you. That's how much I loved you. That's what God says. I loved you so much I sent my son to die for you. Jesus says, I loved you so much that when I was hanging on the cross, taking my last breath, I had you on my mind, Maddie Rayburn. I had you on my mind, Kenley. You on my mind, Thaddeus. You were what was on my mind when I took my last breath on that cross. That's how much I love you. They're going to come and go in your life, all throughout your life. You'll have a few people that will stick with you. Don't worry. Don't try to worry about fitting in. Don't try to worry about being accepted. The only group, clique, club that matters that you accepted into is the family of God.
Amen.
You be accepted into the beloved. That's the only one that matters. Everybody stand.